Hey everybody, welcome back to the 5th episode of Random Talk of the Night. I am joined here today by AJ Eden.
Hello.
Britton Kennedy.
Hi.
And a special guest star on the podcast tonight, Travis Spencer.
Hello. It's nice to be here.
It's nice having you, Travis. So I guess, we thought long and hard about what the topic's going to be about tonight, and we all couldn't really agree on anything. So we finally decided about 3 seconds before hitting record that we're going to talk about weather films, weather movies. Those are fun, aren't they?
I feel like, I know you guys too, but I've always had a fascination with the movie Twister.
Oh, yeah.
And even just weather in general. I used to be frightened of tornadoes, and, watching that on TV is something that you couldn't really experience in real life, and I always found that pretty fascinating.
My favorite was watching that movie, especially when it was like we were having bad weather. Kind of puts you into the scenes in the movie. Okay.
Anytime you see that there's bad weather in the forecast, that's the perfect time for watching Twister or tornadoes. It's like you don't want it to happen, but at the same time you kind of do, because bad weather is kind of like an adrenaline rush. It's scary, but at the same time, you kind of hope for it. You hope for bad storms.
Yeah. It's kind of sick to say, but anytime there's bad weather on the horizon, I actually do secretly hope for the worst. I'm like, give me the twisters, give me the hail.
I want that Joplin, Missouri special.
I want to step out onto my front porch and legitimately say, we got cows, because there's cows flying around my street. That's what I want.
I feel like cows in a tornado would be a lot more messy than it was in Twister. Like, there
I
would
know.
just be blood and guts all on the street. It's just...
The messier, the better. The messier, the better.
Now, did you guys ever watch... I know we'll definitely go on the subject of Twister, but I faintly remember Night of the Tornadoes. Did you guys ever watch that?
No, what was
Never
that?
heard of it.
I only remember one scene of the movie, and that's when... bad weather's going on, and the two kids are sheltered in the kitchen. They're underneath, the kitchen table, because I guess that was the safest spot in the house, despite all the knives and glass windows, refrigerator, whatever. And then they hear, the door open, and one of them's like, ooh, Mom's home. And, the other one's like, it's the tornado, you retard. And so he goes running out, and, the tornado, busts open the door, and the kid about gets sucked out.
Is this a real movie?
I believe so, unless this is some fever dream I had when I was a kid.
I've never heard of this.
I'm gonna look that up while we're doing
We've
this.
We've known you for going on 10 years, and this is the first time we've heard you ever talk about this film.
It's actually a TV movie.
It's a TV movie?
Oh, AJ's on it.
Came out in 1996.
For what network?
He's on it.
I don't know what network, but it's called Night of the Twisters.
What was the rating on that?
5.8 out of 10 on IMDb.
Hey, you know what? That's not bad for a TV movie and a weather movie, because I think, Twister's rated,
6.7 probably.
Super underrated. I think Twister deserves a solid 8.5.
Twister is campy.
Yeah.
But goddamn, it's just
This movie's got
perfect
a...
movie.
It's fun, and some of the acting at times is even dry, but it's so...
Oh,
God
my
damn,
favorite
it's so
credit
enjoyable.
is we've got a... let's see. What's this actor's name? Daniel Petron? Holy shit, how do you pronounce that?
you never really...
Dan Petrojovic.
Dan Petronovic, and his credit is Tough Guy.
I hope someday I'm just in a movie and I'm credited for Tough Guy, but
Yeah.
I'll probably be like fat idiot slob in the corner or some shit like that.
Man drinking coffee in background.
I would
He's
be
a
okay with
Canadian
that.
actor. He has, holy shit, he's got
Any other weather movies in there?
Is that his
A lot of
specialty?
American Pie.
he did a lot of the American Pies.
Those are classic.
Not like the direct to DVD
But
American
do you guys
Pies.
remember, surely you're at that age, when we couldn't quite watch porno because of AOL fucking parental blocks and shit.
Hey,
I don't know if I was the one with AOL, but when American Pie came on TV, for some reason, I thought that was going to satisfy my 12-year-olds, you know.
Right. Yeah.
And
He was
it
in
never really
Suicide
did.
Squad.
Maybe just the one scene whenever what's her the guys in the foreign exchange student, right? She comes
Fi-
into the room
Oh
and,
yeah.
and starts giving him like a strip dance.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
That's about
so-
the best
And
of
they
the
leave
guy.
like the webcam on.
This
and they, like,
actor
record it.
was also
I haven't seen that movie in like 12 years.
This actor was also in a movie called Fish and Chips the Movie, and he is credited as Tang, Torpedo, Gus, and Problemo. He plays all those characters in one movie. So this guy's got some range. I mean, just goes to show he's not as typecasted as his, typical tough guy role.
So, let's talk about what makes Twister so special to you guys.
I think personally what makes Twister so special to me is like the first time I ever watched it. I think I watched it when we were like in the midst of a tornado warning in our small town here, and I remember our mom like flipping back and forth from like the movie to like the weather to like keep checking
Might
on
accidentally
it.
mix up the two. Like, holy shit, there's cows outside, Dylan. Get in
Oh
the,
my
get in the
god,
bathroom.
my local weatherman's in this movie. But like I think that's kind of what always made the movie so special to me, is because the first time I ever watched it was like in the middle of like when we were having like tornadic winds in our hometown, and it just that
Good
movie
word.
it haunted me as a kid. Like it used to scare. Like that movie was like on par with like horror films. Like it was such a terrifying movie. And I don't know, just every time I watch it, I always get like that childlike sense of like fear, where I'm just like, "Ooh, there's a tornado coming." Tornadoes are scary, and they're real.
Tornadoes
So-
are scary.
And
I
they're
mean,
real.
I lived in Arkansas growing up, and we had a lot of tornado scares. So
Yeah.
I remember seeing Twister for the first time, and I got to a point where, for a good 2 years, I was terrified of like bad weather. Like as a kid, for a while, it didn't really bother me, but somewhere along the line, there was 2 years where it was terrifying. And then eventually, one time, lightning struck the house while I was home alone, and somehow that cured me of everything. But
Holy shit.
tornadoes are they're so fascinating, and I think just the mood that the movie has. It's like the whole movie they're expecting this one big storm, and it's like something to look forward to, and it's so dark and it's really ominous, you know.
So
It's
let
got a
me
great
ask you something.
atmosphere around the whole
Are we
thing.
talking about the Twister film, the Dylan McDermott Twister film, or are we talking about the Bill Paxton Twister film?
Of course,
Obviously, we're talking about the Bill Paxton.
Well,
Bill Paxton-
AJ has just pulled up for me here that there is a 1989 film titled Twister. The poster is very intriguing. Shows a cast of characters, one of which I think is playing a guitar, sitting on a couch, rotating around a twister.
how do you know he's rotating?
Well, I mean, you got to see this for yourself. And it's got Dylan McDermott and Crispin Glover in it. Because why the hell not? It's an American comedy film starring. Let's find the plot here. Based on Mary Robbins' 1981 novel, Oh! The film relates on the story of an electronic Cleveland family. That's what it says. I don't want to edit that out, okay?
You might want to get somebody that can read.
An eccentric Cleveland family during the event of a tornado hitting their rural Kansas home. Hey,
So it's like a prequel to
it's like
Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
Anyway,
It came out in 1989. And the other Twister came out in 96, which was the same year as that TV movie you were talking about, Travis.
Yeah,
That TV movie is probably a byproduct of Twister coming out.
I'm sure it is.
now there's another Twister movie that has Bruce Campbell in it that I think is a parody of the Bill Paxton Twister. I found it on IMDb one day.
What are you talking about?
I'm not even kidding you. I found this.
I've watched all Bruce Campbell movies, dude.
There's a Bruce Campbell movie.
But you missed the Bruce Campbell Twister movie.
I must have missed the Bruce Campbell Twister movie.
I know it. I know it's real. I know it exists.
There's another tornado movie that came out called Tornado, and that was 1996 too.
That's the one that's got Bruce Campbell.
So let's go back to Twister, boys.
Yeah.
Hold on, I got
Let's-
it.
let's
Yeah,
bring
right
it-
here.
Let's bring it back
It's
around.
called Tornado, and it's got Bruce Campbell in it.
All right, good to know. We'll give that a look up later.
That's,
and we add a link
great
in the
synopsis.
description.
Oh,
And
thank you.
So that's all the movies with Twister or Tornado in the title.
I'm sure there's more than that.
yeah,
There has to be more than
I'm
that.
gonna say there's at least three more movies.
I think one thing that really makes Twister for me is Bill Paxton's character.
Oh, absolutely.
Probably my favorite part in that movie is when they're all sitting at breakfast at Meg's house. Which, let's get this out of the way. The best part about Twister isn't the Twisters; it's the goddamn steak and eggs that Meg's cooking in there. She's making potatoes with gravy. It's just,
Ugh.
That is the best breakfast I've ever
it's
seen.
got to be
in a
the
movie.
best looking food I've seen in a movie. Hands
Oh, it's
down.
great.
But
I
they-
love it. She makes a plate for Bill Paxton, and she holds it up to him, and he just goes, "Oh, give me that." I mean, what else can you say?
It's
when
probably not the
someone-
first time she's heard that.
I love that she makes extras
I'm
of
pretty
it
sure
and
it's-
puts it in a big brown grocery bag too. Like
Yeah,
just every
that's a true doggy bag.
everything about that whole breakfast scene is satisfying.
Also, let's talk about like the start. Not just Bill Paxton, but we've also who else was the guy? The Suck Zone. Who was that guy?
Philip Seymour Hoffman?
Philip
Hoffman.
Seymour Hoffman.
Rest in peace, Philip.
Rest in
Seymour
peace,
Hoffman.
Philip Seymour Hoffman.
No, he's still alive. But I think at the
What'd you
breakfast
say?
scene, my favorite part was when they're telling Bill's fiance, which his name's Bill in the movie too, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's because I was saying that I'm like that doesn't sound right, but it is.
Because I
They were
think
telling her
he plays himself.
a story about how crazy he is, and she just doesn't believe it. Like she's not seen this crazy side of him. And what was it? He was naked.
He's naked drinking a bottle of whiskey, and he drives up to a tornado and throws the bottle of whiskey at the tornado.
He says, "Take a drink," right?
Yeah, he
Yeah,
says,
have a
"Hey,
drink."
Yeah, have a drink.
And he throws it into the tornado.
If that's not the most badass thing,
I mean, if anything, did anybody else want not to be like a storm chaser after watching that movie?
oh, dude, yeah.
Like,
There was a
that
TV
movie-
series that spawned out because of that
AJ?
show called Storm Chasers.
Did you not want to be a storm chaser?
No, definitely not.
Not even after watching Twister?
Dude, I am horrified of tornadoes still today.
Have you seen Twister?
Why are you
Yeah.
horrified of tornadoes, AJ?
I don't want to die.
Well, see, like I'm with AJ. Like, yes, they're horrifying, but that's why I want to chase them because deep down in humanity, we're fucking
That
stupid.
scene at the
there's some-
beginning of that movie where the dad like tries to push down the.
Yeah, he's holding
You
down the
know,
door
oh,
and he
man,
gets
that
sucked
just-
out. But
Oh,
but
God.
everyone on the
As
inside's
a kid,
A-okay.
that
No,
was
no,
just-
you
yeah,
see-
right.
This is what really happened at the beginning of the movie. I want you guys to listen to this. He didn't really have to hold the door. He wasn't doing shit compared to the force of a tornado. Did you see his wife? I'd want to get sucked out by that tornado too.
Yeah.
I don't know how she even fit down there in the
She was a
basement.
little
because
hard on the eyes.
I don't blame him. He wanted to go. The tornado was his savior. That F5 tornado was the best thing that ever happened to him.
You know what I
So are
love,
you
though?
saying he was looking for a way out, and with that
he
tornado
found his
he
way
found
out.
it?
You know-
he tried to. He was selling it too. He's like, I can't hold it.
Yeah.
He's really like, come on, tornado.
The
This-
tornado didn't even actually blow the door open. He did that. Like I'm sure if you go back and look, you'll see him like giving
Yeah,
it
he's,
a,
he's,
a
he's
push.
loosening the bolts on the
Yeah,
inside.
Guys, don't worry. I'm keeping us safe.
I'm out, bitches.
Freedom!
I'm sure he got smacked like 5 seconds later, but or hell, maybe he made his way to Mexico after he got out safely.
You know,
Either way, he was
you know what
gentleman.
my favorite. You know what's great also about Twister is I love like I legitimately actually do think it's a good movie. I do.
It's a very fun movie.
It's a very fun movie, but it's like one of those movies that it's like still like pretty bad, but like you can look past it just because everything else about the movie. Like one thing I've always loved is how when they're talking about tornadoes and they're talking about the Dorothy that they designed. And they're like, it's to track the tornado because tornadoes are unpredictable and untracked. You know, no one can track a tornado. But throughout the whole film, when they're chasing tornadoes, they're like, it's going left.
Bill Paxton was a tornado tracker. They should have tossed him out in the tornado.
Yeah, why did they?
Bill
need the
Paxton
Dorothy?
was Dorothy. Like
yeah.
Bill Paxton, like he has some kind of supernatural abilities. He's outside the diner, just picks up a little
Yeah, the
handful
sand.
of dirt and just
drops
lets it fall in the wind, and he just instantly knew the weather for the next week. He could have gave the forecast.
Yeah.
And
It's-
what's
no,
he like?
not only the
Philip
next
Seymour
week.
Hoffman comes outside and he's just like, "Are we going green?" And he goes, "Yeah, we're going green." He's like, "Awesome, greenage."
Yeah, they call him the human barometer too.
Yeah.
You know, also not only Bill Paxton, he can pick up a handful of sand, drop it, and then he's just got like the year's almanac in his head. He's like, it's gonna snow on December 14th. That's the first snow that's gonna happen.
And you gotta respect something like that.
I mean, he's like he's got like that Native American touch with the earth. He just knows everything weather. He's just the suck zone.
And the whole thing, like we talked about this before, we're not exactly sure how Dorothy works. Like
Yeah, it's just a
They-
bunch of sensors
it's a bunch of sensors.
All I know is
that,
the
that
sensors.
require something to make them fly, but
because somehow a tornado's wind wouldn't pick
yeah,
them
a tornado which can lift a house off its foundation cannot pick these little silver balls up out of a container.
Yeah, they had
which
a
has
really
to be put
tough time.
directly in its path.
They had a really tough time getting the first couple Dorothys to work, didn't they? That was insane.
They went through.
Three.
They go through three, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the
fourth
first
one's
two, the
magic
first
one.
two don't work because you see the tornadoes coming. It's picking up cows and trucks and fucking barns, but like this tin can in the middle of the road, like this. We maybe like what was it like 6 foot, 6 by 8 feet wide tin can. No, can't do it. Tips it right over. But the sensors can also be replaced on a dime with Pepsi cans, which is
Did you notice like when they were cutting those, like their hands were bleeding and stuff? I was
Yeah.
like, man,
Yeah.
I actually like
that's
appreciate
attention
that
to
attention
detail.
to detail.
Yeah.
Because goddamn, my hands would be like fucking.
I
Yeah.
noticed the mousy girl. She had like just bandages all over her hands. Like there was just like
It's the most useful she's been the whole movie. let's be
yeah.
honest.
Like I thought that was a great touch too. That their hands are all fucked up from cutting soda cans.
I mean, Twister is one of those movies that, rain or shine, I'm gonna enjoy it.
if it's on
preferable.
TV,
Yeah,
you gotta
you s-
watch it. And we,
Oh, me and Britton, we went through a phase where it was like our internet went out, and so for like we were bored, and so we'd always watch TV, and like the CMT, the Country Music Channel, would play Twister like once a day, every day at like 12:30,
Yeah.
and anytime we were flipping through, if
It was-
Twister was on, we had to stop and watch it.
It was like clockwork. It was if there was nothing to do, we'd look at the clock and be like, "Hey, it's almost 12:30.
Let's
get
go
in the
watch
living room."
Twister. We watched Twister like for like 6 times that week.
and I can understand it being on CMT because half the soundtrack is country music.
Yeah.
But what's interesting is,
I didn't want to talk about that part of the film.
well, the Van Halen actually made
Yeah.
a track just for that movie, and it plays on the credits.
Yeah.
And it's really an amazing track.
Yeah.
It's kind of like this heavy metal ballad that's ominous and creepy at the same time. It's called Respect the Wind. And anytime I listen to that, I'm thinking like, oh shit, tornado's just gonna come busting in tonight.
You know what's crazy is earlier AJ was saying he never wanted to be a storm chaser because he's too afraid of tornadoes and that they can kill you and stuff. I don't know. I've never really had to face a tornado before. I've never really seen a tornado, but I feel like getting away from a tornado is easy.
I mean,
What was it? Who was it who said?
I guarantee there are going to be some people out there who would disagree with that.
I know for a fact there are. But the thing is who was it? Was it a comedian or something? It was someone said once, like, you have to be a bitch to die by wind. Like, you have to be a little bitch if wind kills you. Like, referring to tornadoes.
well, I mean, the thing about tornadoes is they're unpredictable,
Yeah.
and they tell you not to go driving in them because it would pick up your car and toss it like a matchbox.
Yeah.
So I mean, you're supposed to stay home or stay low, but
But I feel
that's
like if I
dangerous,
saw
too.
one coming, like say I'm in my house and like, I'm watching TV and they're like, tornado warning, don't go outside, get to a safe zone. And I look out my window and I see a tornado out on the horizon. I feel like if I was to hit my front door and just take off running in the opposite direction of that tornado, like I could get away. Because I don't want to be in my house with a tornado plummeting towards it. I want to get as far away from that thing as I possibly can.
I can't wait to read that news story when it fucking just plasters you with a goddamn fire truck or
Well,
something.
most tornadoes travel like 100 to 200 miles per hour.
Now, what class of a tornado is that?
I felt your spit hit me from all the way over here.
Totally irrelevant. Thanks, Dylan.
I don't know what class. I don't know.
Well, they don't move quite that fast. I think they can move up to like 45 miles an hour.
Yeah, I guess
But
most
speed
tornadoes.
also- Yeah, and speed also doesn't dictate the Fujita scale. Let's talk about the Fujita scale.
Yeah, that's what I was
What's the
talking
Vegeta
about.
scale?
That's whenever they refer to a tornado as like an F1 or an F2 or
Oh, the F stands for
Yeah.
Vegeta.
F
So-
F5.
Basically, the way they determine that is A, by the size of it, as in like diameter, how big it is, and they can get as big as half a mile wide,
Yeah.
Yeah.
maybe even larger. And B is the level of destruction it causes. F5s are incredibly rare, but I think it was an F5 that hit Joplin, Missouri.
Yeah.
Was that 2 years ago, and it caused tons of devastation, killed probably about 60-something people, maybe more than that. I mean,
Jesus.
in today's society, for something like that, it's just insane. Like, we can't fathom it. And I've seen a couple tornadoes in my life. One, like, kind of jumped over a house in Arkansas. And one up in India, I could see it just further up on the hill. And it's really weird. I know you guys have probably seen that greenish tint.
Yes.
Yeah.
I wonder what really causes that. Do you know?
I would say
No
like,
idea.
the light, like with the wind. Oh shit. So I would say with the wind and the sun, like I think it depends on what time of the day the weather is happening. You know, because it depends on like where the sun is compared to like the clouds and everything. I think something just like mixes all together and it creates that green tint. It's got something to do with light reflection. I actually had to write a paper on it in high school.
What grade did you get?
I don't remember.
You also don't remember the paper either.
I don't remember the paper, so I don't remember the grade I got.
How convenient.
Yeah, I think it is.
Do you
you're-
remember
You're
the
right,
papers
though.
you
I think
wrote?
you're more likely to see it in like a afternoon.
Yeah.
You know, when the sun's kind
I
of.
think. What about? Is there any cases of like a midnight tornado?
Oh yeah, tornadoes can happen any time of the day.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
but,
they're
like,
not they're not exclusive
night,
to a certain
night
hour.
tornadoes are the most dangerous.
That's actually what that movie's about. Night of the Twisters.
Actually, if you remember,
It's the
if you
night of
remember
the
the
Twisters.
opening of the movie Twister,
takes place at
it
night.
takes place during the
Yeah, when
night.
they're watching The
Also,
Shining.
yeah, when they're watching
Yeah.
the
Or
Shining.
actually,
with
does
Dermot
it start
Theater.
during like? Maybe it wasn't during the night.
You know what's great about Twister?
Does the opening take place during the night or during
yeah,
the day?
yeah.
It is during the
It's
night.
during the night. I mean, it gets pretty fucking pitch black, you know,
Yeah.
in a storm like that. But you know, her mom, may she rest in peace. Just kidding, she was ugly. She was wearing her nightgown, you know.
Is she
There-
dead?
I'm sure she was. After
They don't really
later.
talk about her after we see her.
Thank God. Thank God for that. But she was in her nightgown, and you could tell like they were just about to go to bed. She was in her bed sleeping. They had to wake her up.
Yeah,
grab the
that's
dog.
okay. Yeah,
Well,
that's
they're
right.
about
That's
to
right.
leave the dog. But yeah, it was a night tornado. And
you
actually,
guys
most of
remember the
tornadoes
dog's
I
name?
experienced in Arkansas, they always came by late at night because I don't know what it was, but just the timing of when the squall line would get to us, it would be in the middle of the night. And
You
I
see-
remember we would lose power all the time. So we would be in the rednecks we were. We would put like trash lids upside down in the yard so we could hear it when it was hailing and stuff. And that's actually a pretty handy trick.
It
because
is.
hail usually accompanies tornadoes, and it can be pretty damaging too.
Yeah.
You guys remember the hailstorm we had here? Probably,
Golf ball sized hail we had
yeah, it was
here in
probably
town.
like 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was. I remember that day specifically because we didn't have a like a landline, and I didn't have a cell phone. So Dylan and Jordan, they went to school, and Jordan left his cell phone behind for me in case there was like an emergency. And I just remember like everything was cool until suddenly the town alarm starts going off, like the sirens, and then I lose all power to the house. And then I start hearing like this loud like tuk 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 coming from outside the house. I open up the window, and it's just like huge golf ball sized balls of hail, just pulverizing everything, just denting our cars, cracking the windshield. Like it was insane. I hadn't seen anything like it. And then suddenly Jordan's phone starts going crazy, and I look down at it, and it's just we're just getting text. He's got friends in Carmi, and they're just like, "Hey, a tornado just fucked up Carmi, and it's coming right for you guys." Like it freaked me out. Like I didn't know what to do. I was just like, So I ran into the bathroom and just sat there for an hour.
It's strange that you're supposed to go to a place, and that's usually the bathroom, but it never seems quite like the most comforting place.
Yeah, no.
I mean, I know you're not supposed to be around windows, but I don't like not being able to see what's going on.
Yeah, me neither. That always killed me when they're like, "Stay away from windows." I'm like, okay, you, both me and the weatherman know I'm not staying away from my windows.
Did you guys ever experience a tornado warning in school?
Yes.
Yeah.
You
See,
remember what you had to do?
Go to the
we had to
library
go
and
to
put
the
a book on
library.
top of
Yeah,
your
you
head.
would have
Yeah.
to crouch and put your hands over your head with a book, and you would have to sit there, which, me and Britton probably weren't skinny kids back then. Well, you were probably. I was a fat kid. So I'm like, my fat body just doesn't roll like that, and they would keep us there for the whole warning, which sometimes would be an hour.
Yeah.
And I mean, in Arkansas, it happened all. Arkansas isn't quite Tornado Alley, but it's like right on the cusp. And you get a lot of bad storms down there in the south almost year round because you don't really get snow. And it was just the worst. I remember one day we had to stay after school because the buses weren't running because of the tornadoes. And luckily, my mom came and got me after like an hour and a half.
I remember in our school, we had one library amongst the entire student body because it was kindergarten through 12th grade. So they had to squeeze the entire student body into this one tiny ass library we had. And
No,
if-
that's not true because they also put us in like the bathrooms and the student teacher lounge.
yeah, sometimes, but they would still.
Bathrooms?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Aw.
the bathrooms.
but sometimes they would
Did you have
just.
to crouch down in there?
No, they were actually the bathrooms were like the designated like the safest parts of the building, so you could just like stand in there.
Oh, okay.
Okay. But I remember.
You didn't have to sit on the bathroom floor.
I remember in our library, there was tables, tables set up, and if you were lucky, you could get underneath the table. And I remember like a lot of the cool kids used to always get under the table first. I remember one time being under the table with all the cool kids, and I felt like I was in a club or something.
Or the pretty girls.
The girls, they'd always get under the tables.
Typical
And
AJ.
if you got under the tables with them, man, like you were set, and it was just like, hey, man, I don't give a shit what happens. Let's get stuck here all day. I'm under the table with the kids. You know what I'm saying?
Those tables were like printed documentation of like every time we had a storm. too.
Yeah.
Because if you looked at it,
Yeah, there was,
it would always be someone's name and then the date that there was a storm warning.
Kyle Sucks Cox 06. But reflecting back on Britain's story of when we had that bad storm, I remember that day too because we had the bad hail, and I remember we were all in the library, and I remember everyone was like bitching, being like, we should be able to get out of here, like we want to get our cars home so that way like the hail doesn't fuck up our cars, everyone's like, we don't want our cars to get screwed up, like what's going on out there, like they weren't telling us anything. And then all of a sudden our history teacher walks in with a handful of just golf ball sized hail, and he throws it down on the table, and everyone's like, our cars, no.
I mean, you're in high school. Nobody had that good of cars anyway.
I don't know, did you have you had your
He was
no.
driving that little red thing, right?
Yeah, your Shelby.
Yeah, but I was like in the middle of the tornado, basically.
Oh, because
You weren't in school.
Yeah, no, you had to go.
I was like on my way back from the bigger city that we live by, and the clouds were actually like becoming the actual tornado up above me.
Wait, you were driving in that?
Yeah.
You drove in the hill?
Yeah. No, I didn't drive in the hell. Everything was around me, and everything was calm where I was.
Oh, so you're just like the
was-
beacon of hope.
He was in the eye of the storm.
Yeah, it was really weird.
You're
Felt like I was in
lucky.
a different world.
I couldn't imagine driving in that. I feel like it would even like besides your windshield about to break all over your face, like you gotta imagine your wheels
Yeah.
running over golf ball size pieces of ice.
Yeah. Yeah, it was weird.
Something that happened during that storm I forgot to mention was the tree next door to us. Lightning hit it. No, it wasn't lightning hit it. Wind knocked it over and it busted down our back door. It was just I should have told it because it was just right after I got that text that the tornado was coming our way, and then the tree came down and came through the door.
I remember,
It,
Mom.
it was the most terrifying.
Bitch, I'm here.
Yeah,
I remember
yeah.
during like the severe thunderstorms. I remember when I was a little kid, I was sitting on the couch, and we were watching the weather. And the weather guy, I was a little kid, and the first time I ever heard anyone talk about the town of New Harmony, the town I lived in, but them talking about it like on TV, the first time I ever heard it was during a tornado warning, and the guy was saying tornado warning for like Poseyville, tornado warning for like Grayville, and then he goes, we also have a tornado warning for New Harmony, Indiana. And I remember being like, whoa, that's where I live. And I look over at my mom, and my mom just lets loose like this huge gasp. Like as soon as he said it, he was like, tornado warning for New Harmony, Indiana. My mom just goes, like that. And I remember like that was a freaky moment, and she like stuffed us in her closet. She was like, get in the closet.
Yeah, I mean, you can always be like scared as a kid, but when your parents are scared, that's when you
Yeah.
really start
Yeah.
to lose
Yeah.
your
That's
shit.
when you lose all composure.
Your parents
And
need
this
to, like,
was,
you
this
know-
was before our mom was dating our stepdad, so it was just us. It was just me, Britton, Jordan, and our mom. And so I was like, oh my god. And so when she was scared, I was like, okay, so now we're all scared. Like this is an intense moment. And they were just so like, I remember. I think that's why I love storms so much, is because like my whole childhood, anytime it would just like rain severely bad, like it was just such an intense moment in the house. And then what sucked was when everything calmed down, and it was like, okay,
Oh,
it's
man,
done.
it's the worst.
And the sun would come back out, and you'd just be like, no, like, is that the best you've got? Like, come on, like, I want more. Like,
Yeah, I know what you mean. Like the sun coming out after a big storm is kind of like a buzzkill. Like
Yeah.
I like it when it storms and then you got a bunch of rain. Like the rest of the night, you can go to bed and like listen to the rain pattering
Yeah.
against the window. Like that's my kind of.
the first year I ever moved into this apartment, I remember I got home from work one day, and we had a really bad storm, and this was like the first month I was living here, and I remember coming home, and I didn't have TV or internet or a smartphone, so I had no connection with like what was going on, and I remember like people calling me and being like, "Hey, like, are you like, you know what's going on?" And I'm like, "No." And they're like, "Oh, we're in a tornado warning." And I'm like, "What?" I remember stepping out on my balcony and the sky was green, and that was the first like intense storm I ever had here, like in the house. And I remember it was super freaky because I had no contact with the outside world, so I was just looking out my windows the whole time, being like, I wonder if I'm gonna die today or not.
Do you remember the one we just had recently where I had to drive out here in a golf cart to pick you up?
Yeah, that was a good one.
You were driving in a storm in a golf cart.
Yeah,
Oh, that was the last one I actually like was freaking out during.
yeah.
Okay,
Like,
well, what happened?
I was legitimately freaked out. Like what happened was I came home from work and Britton was getting ready to go to his job, and it looked like it was getting ready to rain, but it wasn't anything threatening or anything. And so I'm like, okay, Britton goes off to his job. I get home and I'm like getting ready to lay down and take a nap. And like I was practicing meditation at this time. And I turned on my meditation music and was starting to meditate, and Britton kept calling me, and I'm like, God damn it, like, why is he interrupting my meditations? And finally I pick up the phone, and I'm like, yeah, like, what do you want? And he's like, hey, you know what's going on right now? And I'm like, no. And he's like, oh, there's a really bad storm blowing through. And I'm just like, okay, whatever, awesome, this is going to be cool. And I hang back up, and he calls, like 10 minutes later, calls me back. Pick up, I'm like, what? And he's like, hey, yeah, so I guess like it's a bad storm. And I'm just like, okay. And he's just like, okay, well, do you have a safe place to go? And I'm like, yeah. No, I don't. I didn't. And he's just like, okay. He's like, well, okay, it should be fine. Whatever. So at this point, then I'm alarmed, and I go into the living room. I turn on the TV, and I'm trying to get like the weather. And then he calls me back again, and he's like, okay, I'm coming to pick you up. Like, there's a tornado. Like, there's a tornado touchdown in Grayville. Like, we need to go like right now. And I actually remember freaking out, and I was like running around my house being like, oh my God, like there's a tornado coming. And I was like trying to like find clothes. I was like, I was like in my pajamas. I was like, I gotta put on real clothes. I'm not gonna die in my pajamas. Like, I was legit freaked out.
I'm gonna cut you off just for a second. Anytime there is a bad storm, I'm like sitting around my boxers. I feel like I should put on extra clothes just in case.
Well, my mom used to always have us put our shoes on. Anytime like the weather was getting bad, she'd say, "Everyone, put your shoes on."
That's alarming. Jeez.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it is kind
But
of alarming.
you know what? It's ingrained now that anytime I hear a tornado siren, I shit you
I put
not,
my
if
shoes
I
on.
don't have my shoes on, I put my shoes
Yeah.
I
on.
mean, it's probably a good habit.
Even if it's just like the town testing the alarm, I hear it go off, and I just subconsciously I start reaching for my shoes, and I go, wait, no, it's
That's
1 o'clock.
Pavlov, man.
It's Wednesday.
All right, so what happened when he picked you up?
It was the winds were. I mean, like I remember stepping outside, and the winds were insane. Like the two trees in front of my house were like rocking back and forth, and they were going like 10 feet in both directions, and the wind was getting crazy, and there was like a whoosh 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 noise going on, and the sky was green, and it was just like it was nutty. It was crazy, and he finally gets here, and I run downstairs. We get on the golf cart, and there's like cars like zipping around us like. like it was like a scene from Twister. I felt like we were running from a tornado. And we get to the house that he was working at. And we go down into the basement, and the lady that he was working for at the time is not helping my anxiety attack at all, because she's like, well, I guess if we're gonna die, I guess we gotta die here. I don't know. Like, did you ever think that like you would die with like just a random group of people, like just saying weird shit like that?
Jesus Christ.
And I'm just like, please, lady, like, please stop. And she's like, well, I guess if a tornado comes, we could all line up and hold on to the staircase, but I don't know. These stairs are old. Like, I don't think
Well,
we're
she's
gonna.
like, before you die, the last thing you want to do is just grab the nearest person and fuck them.
And then she had her like a friend there with her, and they're like, they don't like, there's tornadoes going on outside, and our phones are blowing up with alerts like once every 3 minutes, being like, take cover, and I'm freaking out, and they're just folding scarves. Just like, and every scarf, she's telling the story. Oh, I made this scarf, or oh, I can't remember where I got this scarf. And there's just like tornadic winds and trees blowing around outside. And I remember legitimately being nervous. Like that was the last time. That was back in May, and I was legitimately nervous. And I haven't been like nervous during a storm. Like I said, because storms kind of excite me, and they kind of like put me in like a mood of like, yeah, we're gonna get a bad storm. But this one was like really anxiety inducing. On like a not fun level. And it didn't help that this lady just kept bringing up death every 3 minutes.
That's, you gotta love old people, man.
Yeah. The thing I remember most about it was Mom was trying to get a hold of me, and she couldn't because this house that we were at, I was in the basement, didn't have any signal. So I'm told, like, hey, maybe you should go get your brother, because Dylan lives in an upstairs apartment, so there's like really nowhere safe for him to be if there was a storm to hit. So I'm flying down here in the golf cart. I peel out in the driveway, and while I'm driving, my phone now gets signal, and Mom's calling me. And so I answer the phone, and I'm talking to Mom, and there's like wind and like rain blowing in my face. And I pick up the phone, and I'm just like, hey, Mom, what is it? And she goes, there's a tornado, and it just touched down here in Grayville, and I think it's coming your guys' way. And I go, all right, Mom, well, look, listen, I'm picking up Dylan right now and getting somewhere safe. You guys get somewhere safe, too. And I just hang up on her. And then I slam on the brakes in front of Dylan, just go scooting across the gravel.
When was this?
This was back in May. And here's the thing.
This May?
So when I get here, I expect Dylan to be like ready and raring to go. He's getting dressed. So I'm
You
sitting out
slept
there
through
just
it.
getting rained on.
I
while I
remember-
wait for Dylan to get dressed to come downstairs.
I remember I was in the like the grips of a panic attack, and I remember like being like I couldn't get a hold of Mom because she was like calling a bunch of people, and like her lines were jammed up. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna see how AJ's doing, make sure he's okay, see if he's got a safe place to go.
And then you said,
I can't get a hold of AJ at all. And then finally, after the storm passes, he calls me back, and he's like, what's up? And I'm like, dude, we just had a crazy tornado. And he's like, man, I just woke up. What are you talking about? Like, he just slept through the whole thing.
Dude, I did the same. Remember the one we had in when was it? The one that destroyed Newburgh. You remember that? Was it back in 2011?
Yeah, we were looking for Dad.
I just remember like that was right in our neighborhood too. I just remember going to bed. Like, right before I go to bed, Dad goes, hey, these winds are picking up. It's getting really serious out here. And this was, like, 3 in the morning. Me and him were playing, like, Return to Castle Wolfenstein. Like, we'd stayed up all night playing games together. And he steps outside. He's like, the wind's really picking up. And I'm just like, yeah, well, I'm going to go to bed, Dad. I'm tired. And I go to bed, and I wake up. And, like, have you ever woke up and just, like, instantly the day felt weird? Like, you know something's wrong?
Mm.
Well, I had one of those where, like, I woke up, and from the living room, I could hear, like, the news, and it's talking about Evansville, and I just keep hearing it, Evansville, and I'm just like, well, you know, like, I'm just, like, I get up, and I go into the bathroom, I start brushing my teeth and doing the normal biz, and then as I walk out of the bathroom, we have, like, this big open window in the living room, and everyone's sitting and looking at the TV, and I can see that they're watching it, but I'm not looking at what they're watching because I look out in our yard and all I see is just trees and a power line. And I'm just like, what the fuck happened? And then I'm like, wait, if the power lines are down, how are we watching TV? But then I found out. A tornado was
You
blowing
guys
through the
remember?
neighborhood.
You guys remember when New Harmony used to flood every time it rained?
Still does.
Well,
hasn't
it
stopped.
hasn't in a long time, but back in July, it flooded. It flooded. Is that how you pronounce
Yeah.
that? It flooded again, and me, Steven, and Britton, and Josh, and Megan were planning on going to Holiday World. It was the 4th of July.
Hey, that ended up being a good day.
We woke up.
Fuckers.
We woke up at 8 in the morning, and the night before, everyone was like, "Dude, it's gonna like." We were like telling everyone's like, "What are you doing for the 4th of July?" We're like, "We're going to fucking Holiday World," and everyone's like, "No, dude, you can't go to Holiday World. Like it's gonna rain all day." We woke up at 8 in the morning, stepped out onto my balcony, and the streets were like rivers. They were just completely flooded.
Speaking of flooding, it's not flooding; it's more of a snowstorm. But the day after tomorrow, that's like
I was gonna
a
bring.
good
I was gonna bring that
disaster
up.
movie.
I was gonna bring that up. Yeah, day after tomorrow.
I need to rewatch that.
It's an interesting weather phenomenon that I start to wonder if something like that's possible. Like obviously the Earth, it leaves Ice Age, then it goes back into it, and I mean that's just the way Earth's weather works. And right now we're trending towards getting hotter, which will be the melting of the polar caps, and then the extra fresh water in the oceans will cause the weathers to change. And that's kind of what sparked the whole change in Day After Tomorrow, that it formed these 3 megastorms up in the Arctic, and they came down, and basically over the course of a week, it changed Earth back into an ice age. And it's something that I always thought was really creepy, and if something like that were to happen, god damn, we'd be so fucked.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that movie since I was a kid.
I actually just watched it earlier this year.
Really?
How does it hold up? 'Cause
I-
I haven't seen it since it came out.
I still love it, but I like bad weather movies.
Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yeah.
Jake Gyllenhaal
Jake
is
Gyllenhaal.
fantastic,
Yeah.
and that girl in it, she's pretty hot. But his dad, what's his dad?
She's pretty up.
He's a terrible actor.
Dennis Quaid.
Yes.
Oh wow.
All right, he is terrible
I
in this.
couldn't actually remember.
Is Dennis Quaid still acting?
I hope not. But God, like Jake Gyllenhaal was killing it, and then his parts were like Sam, as he like walks out of the car, like it's just everything's so ingenuine. But probably my favorite part of that movie is when the tornadoes hit Los Angeles.
Yeah. The scene when the weatherman gets hit by a billboard.
Yeah, it's just a lot of shit happens. That guy watches his boss get rolled over by a bus.
I remember watching that movie in the movie theater we had here in town.
I just remember the scene whenever they're like in front of a museum in New York,
Mm-hmm.
and Jake Gyllenhaal just looking down the street and seeing a massive tidal wave coming towards it.
Yeah, and in real life, that would have just crushed that building. But because water, people don't understand that water is a lot more powerful, like than you could even imagine. Like that would have just erased away the building.
Well, you
But-
saw Did you ever see the video of the guy who uses a backhoe like to lift up a bunch of water, and he's gonna pour it on top of his car to clean it?
Yeah, it's
And
like
he dumps the bucket of water on top of it, and it just flattens the
crushes
car
it.
into
Just
nothing.
absolutely crushes it. I'll have you know, my mom and my sister live down in Florida, and they recently lived through Hurricane Matthew, which was a Category 4,
Yeah.
turned into a Category 3, and it pretty much wrecked my hometown, Jacksonville, and all the beaches south of it where my mom and my sister live. There is, well, first off, the beach where my mom lives, the ocean surge actually washed away the beach and the road that goes on the beach, which is A1A, which is a very popular highway down in Florida. Like half of it's just washed away. And underneath the other half of it was nothing. Like there was nothing supporting it. Like if you were to walk out there, it would just fall. Like just in one hurricane, all the waves and rain just wash it away completely. Now you go 10 miles north of that, there's this rocky beach. I'm talking about rocks that are, gosh, they're like 5 feet by 5 feet. These rocks are fucking huge. They're heavy. And it's one of the few rocky beaches in Florida. Well, these waves got to those rocks, and believe it or not, it moved almost all of them out into the ocean. Like, I would not in a million years think that could happen. But this water washed away these rocks, and they're no longer in a big pile up along the beach anymore. Now they're, like, out in the water and scattered. And
Is this the first time
we
that's
live on
ever
a
happened?
weird planet.
I mean, that's crazy.
Well,
it
like-
washed away your hometown pretty much.
Just the beaches. you
Yeah,
know?
it took away the best part of his
There's-
hometown.
So wait, like when you say it washed away the beaches, it's just like no longer
like
any beaches.
there's
Yeah.
it's hard to they weren't very long beaches to begin with. They're kind of they're probably the beach was from probably the double of this room here, so they weren't very long. It was short beaches, but they washed them away to the fact where after the road there's like a 16-foot drop and then just shallow beach into the water. It's like it literally washed them away. Like there's not sand there anymore.
wow.
So
It's just
so
a-
it's
it's
about
a-
like 30 feet wide.
And yeah, and it's pretty much just a drop now.
Yeah,
It's-
yeah. You showed me the pictures. It's weird because whenever someone tells you like it took a beach away, like you can't really imagine like
I'm
how do you take a
confused,
beach
yeah.
away
How
from
do you
something,
take
and
a
then you see
beach?
the photo of it,
Yeah,
and it's essentially just like a crater,
yeah,
kind of.
It's just a drop off. Like there's
Yeah,
no
it's just-
like descending sand into the ocean. It's
yeah,
just-
it's empty. It's just a drop off and some dirt.
and like a hurricane hadn't really hit that area in a long time, so I guess that's why the damage was so bad. But it's crazy to see just what Mother Nature can do with a little bit of wind and water.
Yeah,
And hurricanes, I know we were talking about tornadoes earlier, but hurricanes are on their own fucking level.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
Like-
hurricanes are like tornadoes, but like on the ocean.
Like 10 times bigger though.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
like tornadoes, like they come and go. They're like water spouts.
Water tornadoes.
Water spouts. Those are pretty awesome. They had a few with the hurricane.
The suck zone.
But the pressure in hurricanes is so low that the ocean actually swells in them. And that's what creates these huge surges that come in, because in the eye it swells up, but then they go back down and kind of ride out the wave, and the water will rise up 20 feet higher than it's normal. And it just devastates anything, all like rivers inland and places
Jesus.
along the beach.
Yeah, I kind of like. I always wanted to live like in a beach town, somewhere with like a beach, because beaches are fun. Beaches are nice.
Oh yeah.
But like, it's times like when Hurricane Matthew happened, it was like, wow, thank God I don't live in a beach
Well,
town.
I mean, you're always at risk for a hurricane in Florida. But like I said, they haven't been hit by a direct hurricane. And probably they said it was like the biggest storm to hit there in like 100 years. And it was a pretty big storm. It was like Category 4, Category 3. But I mean, for 100 years, that's really not bad. Like they're not. But this weather patterns are kind of changing too. We don't know quite the effects of global warming. what
no one
that'll
can
have.
follow. No one can tell which direction a tornado is gonna go.
Well, unless you're Bill Paxton.
It's
Yeah.
going east.
And luckily, Bill Paxton frequents our town.
Yeah, we're lucky for that.
We're tornado.
I was calling shenanigans. Every time these boys say Bill Paxton's in town, I'm hunting them all over, and I
Hey.
can never find them.
Bill
We get a
It's,
lot
Paxton.
of
an
false
elaborate.
leads.
Bill
It's an
Paxton-
elaborate prank we've been pulling on you for years
Well,
now. Just-
Bill
it's worth it, just in
Paxton
case.
visits this town not on a. I don't know if it's a regular basis, but he has a couple times that I've known, and I've been in the same restaurant and eaten at a table located next to Bill Paxton's. AJ confirmed this.
Confirmed.
Confirmed. I had tomato bisque and some dinner rolls because that's all I could afford. The red geranium was very expensive, and Bill Paxton was sitting about 5 feet from me. And one thing you wouldn't know about that guy? He's a little sailor. He curses like a sailor.
I'd totally see that from him.
What did he order?
I don't. I think he had actually. They brought him out.
I think the chicken salt and boca.
Yeah, the chicken salt and boca. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty
Good
sure.
taste.
And what's funny was we went there, and this was around.
the fact that they remember that.
This was like the week in between Christmas and New Year's. I remember, because New Year's was on the Friday. We were there on on a Wednesday, and I remember he was with a table full of a bunch of people. It was like a table of 10 people, and they all at one point did a toast. And he raised up his glass and he said, "To the best motherfucking year of our lives." And I remember being and he yelled it into the restaurant. There's old people there, old people who probably didn't know who he was. It's just what a rude man just to yell that into the restaurant. But me and AJ and Steven are at the table next to us, just fuck yeah, Bill Paxton. Yeah.
It's good that he's having the best years of his life post Twister. Like I feel like Twister would be the highlight of your life.
Also, there was a
Like everything's just been
there
going
was
downhill
a-
for him since '96.
There was an Amazon original series about the president. And what was it called? I cannot
House
remember.
of Cards.
No, it's got John Goodman in it
Oh, that's Amazon.
Is it called
on Amazon.
Oh,
yeah,
Alpha Dog, Alpha House,
Alpha House, I think.
Alpha Blue Dog?
Anyway,
Something like
Alpha
that.
Dog. That was with Justin Timberlake or something. I know what
Yeah,
it's Alpha something.
Alpha.
Alpha.
Ages on it. What do we got? AJ?
Alpha.
Alpha House.
It's called Alpha House.
Hey.
Is Bill Paxton on Alpha House?
I don't.
Because I remember him talking
shit,
about
he
Alpha
is.
House a lot. He was saying
Maybe he was just watching it and was a
Bill
fan.
Paxton and John Goodman. That's a fucking good combo.
that's gold right there. Who's in it? Let's see. here. Okay. No, I don't think Bill Paxton's in it. I
No.
don't see him. But John Goodman is in it. Because he kept talking. He was saying something, and someone asked him, they're like, so Bill, like, what's your next project?
You're thinking of Bill Murray, probably.
Was he on there? No. It's Bill Paxton because he was the one talking about it. And I think he said something about how like they offered him the role of they offered him a role on Alpha House.
Maybe he's glad he turned it down.
I don't know. I haven't seen the show. Maybe it's good. Maybe he should have taken it.
I feel like Amazon's.
Yeah, like I don't think Amazon has anything really good on it except for. Are they the one that has the show with?
They got the Grand Tour.
They got the Top Gear guys.
Yeah, they got the
No,
Top Gear guys.
Transparent. Is that what it's called? The
Oh, I've heard good. Yeah.
Is that
yeah.
about a transsexual parent?
yeah,
Yes.
Oh, for real?
yeah,
I
Yeah.
was making a joke. Okay.
yeah.
It's called
Don't you want to
Transparent.
watch that? America needs some better, more.
I
wholesome
think here's the thing.
content to watch.
I cannot say anything about the show because I haven't seen it.
I've
but
heard I've heard
I've
good
heard
things, and I
good
like
things.
I like the actor
Yeah, it's got
Jeffrey
that.
Tannenbaum.
Yeah, he's got good.
think that's his
Got a
name.
good actor in the lead role. But the thing is I think that a lot of shows get a lot of praise depending on the content of the show. And I think since we're living in this time, like this generation of like where everybody's like being transgender, and you know we've had this like big growth in like just accepting people for who they are, whatever they are, whoever they like, whatever they like. And so like for a show like that dealing with the subject matter, I feel like people are praising it simply for the fact of like it just kind of comes with the time. And I feel like a lot of these shows that are like this nowadays, like we'll probably look back on a bunch of shows coming out, or a bunch of shows maybe soon to come out that might deal with the same subject matter that's very relevant to the time, and we're gonna realize that maybe they're complete shit, and people were just praising them because it's like it was relevant.
Yeah, but we can't say it about that show. We haven't seen it.
I
That
know
show
that's what
might-
I said. I
That
threw in a
show's probably
disclaimer.
legitimately good.
Yeah, I know. I
don't
know,
think it
I'm
just
saying-
has a transgender character and they're just like A+. Like I don't think they just passed it off like that.
I know. All I'm saying is maybe time will tell.
Just like Netflix just had a series recently called Sense8, and it had a transgender character in it. And I mean, like that show.
But it
just-
wasn't about like transgendered people.
It was definitely an aspect of it. It focused pretty heavily on it in the early
Right.
episodes, especially.
But it's not like the basis of the story.
Sharknado.
Yeah, we're getting off topic, so let's.
We never.
I don't know if Sharknado
I don't know if
is
you've
what we need to
listened.
go to.
I don't know if you've listened to any of the other episodes, but we never stay on topic.
Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. That is a.
Hey,
That's a good weather movie.
That
I love
movie
that movie.
honestly has like one of my favorite film scores, and that's pretty impressive to say for a kids movie.
What was on it?
Well, the music was done by Mark Mothersbaugh, who did he was in Devo. But just the opening theme, I can't remember what it's called, but it's just epic. Like it's just a fantastic piece.
Did you watch the sequel?
Yes, I watched half. It wasn't good.
Yeah, I didn't. really,
I watched half of it and turned it off. It was not as clever or as witty as the first film was.
yeah, I did not care about it.
Did you guys see Zootopia?
Yes,
Uh,
we watched half of it.
We watched part of it, but like we started it super late and I fell asleep and we didn't finish it and I forgot that I have it.
That's
so-
still a movie I need to finish.
I think
It's on
actually
Netflix. It's on Netflix.
It's on Netflix
It's
now.
That's what I'm doing when I get home.
It's fantastic.
Have
man.
you-
I watched the whole thing. It's one of those movies that actually has a lot of adult references. There's a
Yeah.
pretty strong Breaking Bad reference in it.
My favorite bit in the movie was the wolves. One of them starts howling, And it's like, Greg, no, you're gonna start a howl. He goes, woo, and all of a sudden there's like woo. There's a
Dogs can't resist, dude.
Yeah,
Like,
well, there's a
if
really
you've ever had a
cute-
dog and you just start howling, they look at you and they just got to join in. It's,
there's a really cute video circulating on the internet right now where someone's got that scene on their TV and they have their dogs like laying in the living room, and when all the dogs in the TV start howling, the dog stands up and starts howling.
You know, going back to Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, even the cast isn't that bad.
Yeah, no, it's got
Like-
Anna Faris is in it.
Yeah, Bill
and,
Hader is Flint. the main
Yeah,
character.
yeah, and he's fantastic.
And then Andy
with it.
Sandberg's in it.
Yeah, yeah.
Bruce
He
Campbell
played
was in
Van-
it? Oh, I
and
knew that.
Bruce
Mr.
Campbell
T.
played the neighbor.
Mr. T and
Yeah,
Neil Patrick Harris.
he played the
Yeah.
monkey.
Will Forte.
I don't remember who he played.
Joe Town.
I remember the dad was played by James Caan, and he was good too. That was a good casting pick.
James Caan.
I think that's how you say his name. It's like Caan or Can.
Can, yeah, looks. What has he been? He was in The Godfather.
Yeah, he was
Yeah, he's in a lot
also
of
he
good
was
stuff.
also Buddy the Elf's father.
He was also really good in a
Uh,
movie called
Walker.
Maybe he
The
wasn't
Way
in-
of the Gun. We're getting way off topic now, though.
yeah, that's not going away the gun or anything.
Also, what was great about in Twister about it's not just a movie about storm chasers chasing some bad weather. That tornado at one point in the film almost like is out to get them, because it seems like wherever they wind up, the tornado just shows up and just like fucks their day up. And
It's
they
Bill, man.
what?
It's Bill.
They really do catch like a bad string of storms.
They
Like,
do.
it seems like
It like
they,
and
they,
then
they
it
catch a
goes.
storm. They try to put Dorothy in it. It fails. They have
they
an
wreck her truck.
They have an argument about their failing marriage, and then someone interrupts it, and they're just like, "Hey guys, there's another tornado," and then they rinse and repeat. They just do that the whole film.
Yeah, it's argument. Let's argue about the divorce papers. Oh, there's a storm. Let's go put Dorothy in it. Dorothy doesn't work.
I feel like
Wreck a truck.
Like,
Repeat.
the love story in it is kind of good, but at the same
It
time it's kind
is.
of awkward because his
Well,
like fiance is
Yeah, his
That's
fiance
fiance's
there
there.
kind of for.
That's
and
not how
eventually-
life works either.
Eventually, yeah, she's like in the hotel room at the end. She's like, I can see you're still not over her, so just don't worry about it. We're done.
It's okay.
Like,
It's
just
okay.
casual.
about it.
I
Dude,
want
we
you
were
to-
engaged 5 fucking minutes ago, and now it's over, and he's like, all right, bitch, see ya.
She's like,
see ya.
I can see that this is your life and this is what you want to be.
Like it's such a weird thought too, because like they had to have those two had to have fallen in love, and they had to have gotten engaged, and then he just goes and locks eyes with his wife, and she's just like, you two still love each other.
You
It's
got
cool."
I mean,
Like what
I gotta
about
give her props for that, though. I mean, but she is the cause of the greatest tragedy in that movie.
Yeah, I was just-
She goes in the diner and she orders 2
Oh,
iced
yeah.
lemonades.
Oh
and
my god.
let me tell you about something about lemonade in the South. It's goddamn good. Well, she puts them on top of the car, and all of a sudden they got to go, and she's panicking. She gets in the car. She takes off. They fall right off the goddamn truck.
I know, and they were like in the lemonade cups, and
Oh,
they just
man,
looked
they
so
were-
good.
If she
I
had
could
a
taste that
kid,
lemonade.
if she had a kid and put it on top of the car and drove off and the kid would fall,
It would have been less sad.
I would understand.
Yeah.
Like I would be like,
They were
I
in a
get- I
hurry. They
get
had a
that.
tornado
You-
chase.
You were in
Another
a
kid.
hurry.
You can't replace those lemonades.
Exactly.
They
You
had
can-
they had they had a storm.
You
they
can
had
have
to
a new
chase.
kid anytime, but a lemonade in the South, that's
Oh,
just
it's a damn shame.
that's a precious commodity.
Of all the buildings lost, the lemonade was
the
definitely
two
the
cups of
greatest.
lemonade are by far the
They just
the-
go tumbling down.
At least it wasn't sweet tea. Then it would have really.
the 2 cups of lemonade got it way worse than the guy at the end of the movie gets
Oh,
the
no.
rip,
I-
who gets the spike thrown into him, and the car gets picked
Oh
up
my
off the ground and
God.
then
I feel
slammed
sorry
back
for this
into
guy because this guy is working. What's his name?
Oh my God!
The
What
guy
is?
that stole Dorothy.
Yeah,
Unrealized.
What's
Yeah.
his name?
the actor's name's Carrie
I
Eloise.
know, but what's? Fuck me.
Yeah, what is?
I
his
love
name?
I love how they're like
I love how
they're-
we're talking
his
about how much we
character-
love this movie, but then we're just like, now who was that guy?
I love how what's great though about that movie is definitely
Jonas.
Jonas. That's it.
Sorry.
So Jonas.
that movie is a movie for like all the little like rebellious rebel kids out there, because you got the storm chasers who are like the rebellious. They make their own equipment and they play by their own rules. And then you just got like the corporate hags who
you
have
got like the soul storm
Yeah,
chasers.
who have the top of the line
They're in
technology.
it for the money.
Yeah.
They're in it for the money, and yet these other guys are like better at chasing storms. Where even though like the corporate guys have like the top of the line technology, like everything's like they're like we're the best, like we have to be the best because everything we've got is way stronger than what you guys got, and yet. The rebels, the misfits of the group, still just end up being like the better. Like I just,
You gotta
movie's
love it.
so empowering. It make it just like
Have you guys ever thought about the crew that they drive with? Because I mean, like we always focus on we always focus on Bill Paxton and Helen Hunt. Is that her name?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then his fiance.
Right.
But like, so you got like the cars behind them. There's the first truck, which is Rabbit, right? And he's the guy that looks at the map.
Yeah.
But then after that, I kind of like lose focus on what the other characters do. There's the guy in the station wagon who sings music.
The guy that got his head cut open by the hubcap.
Yeah, that's him. And then there's Dusty, who
Dusty's
As far as-
memorable.
as
for all
far
his
as I can
clothes.
tell,
Dusty's
he
the
just-
wild card.
Yeah, as far as I can tell, he's just the one who plays music for him over the loudspeakers
He
so
was
they can all
playing
hear it.
"Child in Time" by Deep Purple, which is that solo
The suck zone.
sucks though.
And then
That's
who else was there's like two other cars of people. Like I felt like
There's a
everyone was,
mousy girl. There's,
yeah, she drove the car while Rabbit read the map, as I seem
The
to recall.
master. They were
Or
the.
no, she was the one with the laptop.
They were
the
computer
She
team.
She did computer stuff.
Yeah, that was the computer team. They were like the nerdy ones
Yeah,
who were
that's
like,
right. She was always the one with the computer open, and she's
Yeah.
just like, it's all red on the screen.
we got an 845 Vortex tubular tube going east-west on the south, and everyone would just be like, all right, nerd, let's go get this storm.
Yeah, I mean, they needed to be there, but God, they really didn't spend much time on them.
They really-
give much character.
Like, yeah, and then whenever we meet Jonas and his crew, it's even worse because he has 10 times the people, and they're all just black minivans.
yeah, which I feel like minivans wouldn't be great storm chasing vehicles. Maybe
yeah,
I'm wrong.
Like
but
he just drives with a fleet of black minivans, and then there's the big black Winnebago that has it has the GPS and the
You get
tracking
a-
system.
you get a
and
truck.
the maps.
That's what you
and,
need.
Like that truck, that one Winnebago is all they needed because it has everything they need. So like the 20 black minivans are just unnecessary.
Now, are we talking about disaster films or just weather films?
Weather films in particular,
Because-
but they follow under the category of
Because
disaster flicks.
Dylan showed me a really good movie. What was it? Maybe almost a year ago. It's Seeking a Friend for the End of the World, and that's got Keira Knightley and
Yeah, that's a good movie.
Yeah, that's not a. I mean, I guess I haven't seen that movie
I don't
in a
know.
long time.
it's
but
not weather, but I mean it kind of is because it's about an asteroid, right? Or something about.
That's the movie where
It's
an
like
asteroid's coming towards Earth
The
and we
sun,
can't stop it.
yeah, like
Armageddon.
the apocalypse is
Yeah.
happening.
Oh, I'm confusing.
and there's
I'm
like-
thinking of
yeah,
Armageddon. My
they're-
bad.
I think.
And Deep Impact.
I don't know. I think disaster movies and weather movies kind of go hand in hand. Even
Well,
though, I mean,
they
there's,
do.
There's
They're
a difference
disaster
between.
But they're
movies.
natural, yeah.
Yeah, they're natural
Natural
disaster
disaster.
movies. I mean, like, for example, the movie with Tommy Lee Jones, Volcano.
fantastic
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good.
It has that epic scene where that guy he jumps onto
Oh,
the
man, the-
subway cart
yeah.
and saves the woman. He jumps out into the lava
And then
and
just tosses her.
yeah, he tosses her to where it's safe as he's like going down. Like that is like one of the most heroic things.
That's a goddamn hero.
Haven't seen that
I
movie
would like
since I
to
was a
think I
kid.
could do that, but god damn it, I don't think I would.
I've seen that actor in other movies, but hands down, that's like his probably the most heroic thing he's ever done on screen.
Have you seen The Core?
Yeah, that was a really horrible movie. In fact, actually, I think that's the first movie I saw in theaters where I realized what a bad movie was. Like, I think that's the first time I paid for something and hated that I paid for
The
it.
screenshot I just saw looked pretty bad.
I want to see this movie called The Time Machine.
That was
The guy from like 1899, and he goes.
H.G. Wells.
He goes into the future in about 2030.
Yeah.
Where they were working on the moon or something happened. And they like did something really bad to it, and
I haven't read the book, but I remember watching the movie, and I don't remember jack shit about it. Like
I'd like to
that
see
would actually
It
be
looks
worth
really neat.
rewatching.
Yeah, it looks like a really cool looking movie.
You know what my favorite disaster movie is the movie Disaster Movie.
Come on, Don. Everyone knows that movie's
All right,
dog
thanks
shit.
everybody. Good night.
I was like, one of my favorites has always been Dante's Peak.
Yeah, Dante's
Yeah.
Peak
There's
is
something
good.
like really creepy about that whole damn movie. Like, you know, this goddamn volcano is gonna blow up, and these stupid ass kids got to go put themselves in trouble. And then you got grandma pushing them in the boat in that acid water, and God damn it, grandma. But it's a really ominous and dark movie. Like a lot of people die in it.
Pierce Brosnan was in that, right? Like he was.
He
the-
was, yeah,
he
he
was
was
doing that in
fantastic.
between.
he was Dante.
He was doing that in between James Bond films.
Who played his peak?
'Cause that came out in '97.
That was his penis.
Oh, that was the Pierce Brosnan porno.
With the
When he
kids.
was just like, "Excuse me, madam, do you care if I sleep with you?" Dead air. Okay. Well, guys, does anybody have anything else they want to say about any weather movies? Anybody else want to praise Bill Paxton anymore?
I liked Bill Paxton in what's the John Hughes movie where the kids
Weird
animate-
Science.
Weird Science. I love him in that because he gets turned into a big pile of shit at the end of the movie.
Game over, man. Game over.
I think it's a big pile of shit. It's like an alien creature thing.
It's definitely a big.
It looks
turd.
like a pile of shit.
Dylan,
it's like an
he gets
alien.
turned into a pile of shit. I don't think there's any like other way of interpreting that. He literally gets turned into a big pile
But
of
it's
shit.
got like ears and arms.
Yeah, he's got a face and a mouth because, he's a pile of shit that talks.
All right. Not
But it-
important.
All right. Okay. So, I guess that's gonna do it for this this episode of Random Talk of the Night. Signing off. My name is Dylan Kennedy.
My name is AJ Eaton.
I'm Brendan Kennedy.
Travis Spencer.
Thanks for listening, y'all. Tune in next week when we talk about our favorite movies involving snow. Spoiler: mine's Snow Days.
Mine's Frozen.